and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to tell you how you can make sure you never forget the words to your presentation ever again. And you can do that by using these. As always, please do subscribe to my video and please do let me know in the comments below what topics you'd like me to cover next. I upload every Tuesday and Friday. Cue cards are brilliant. I think they're fantastic. Now, some people don't like them, but personally, I don't get it. I don't understand why you wouldn't like cue cards. When it comes to live television, you always see presenters using cue cards. And why wouldn't they? They're fantastic for holding notes. They're brilliant to act as a reminder for you. And I think if professionals can use them, then why can't everybody else? I think part of the problem with cue cards is somebody somewhere said you shouldn't use them because they don't look like you're prepared, or they don't look like you're a good presenter, or maybe somebody said professional speakers wouldn't use them. I don't know. Whoever said you shouldn't use cue cards is wrong. But the key is obviously how to use them properly. If you don't use cue cards properly, you can get into a pickle. And actually, maybe the person who said you shouldn't use cue cards is somebody who didn't use them correctly. Well, let me tell you how to use them so you never have to worry about forgetting what you're going to say in your presentation ever again. First of all, when it comes to cue cards, make sure you use a decent size. Now, this is a pretty big cue card here that I'm using for this video, but even on something this size, I would only have 3 bullet points max. Just 3 bullet points. Those bullet points should be very short and not long sentences. The idea of your bullet points is you would look down to it and it reminds you instantly about what you want to say. You do not want to put entire pieces of script on your cue card. However, they are very handy if, for instance, you have a statistic, a quote, something very important that you must get right. A cue card is great for that. And simply, if you're going to read out a quote or you're going to read something like a sentence from your cue card, you can simply say, now, I want to make sure that I get this right, so I've written it down here. The statistic says, and you can read it. It's fine. It shows preparation, it shows you care, it shows you want to get it right. That is the only time you should write down a sentence. In all other cases, 3 bullet points max to a cue card. The other thing that you need to remember when you're using cue cards is make sure you number them. I would suggest that in the top right-hand corner, you put the number of your cue card so that every single cue card has a number on it. Why would you do this? Well, obviously it just means that they're always in the right order. Now, if you're nervous, you can get into a situation where you're rummaging through your cue cards just before you go on stage. That is not something I would advise, but it does happen. And having numbers on them, make sure that they're always in the right order. The other thing that can happen with cue cards, like most things, is you can drop them by mistake. And if you drop your cue cards and they're not numbered, well, that's a whole other mess. Make sure you number your cue cards. The other thing you need to do if you're going to use cue cards is use your thumb as a marker. You use your thumb as a marker by always placing your thumb on the point that you're currently talking about. So that means when you look down, you know exactly where you are and you can move your thumb to the next point. This is a great tip for keeping you on track. It's also a great tip if you're very nervous, because what tends to happen when we're nervous is our minds go blank and we forget where we are. But if you use your thumb as a marker on your cue cards, you always know where you're going. And my final tip for using cue cards correctly is practice using them. Practice holding these in your hand. Practice holding them in one hand in particular. Practice using your thumb as a marker. Practice going to the next card. Decide, are you going to put your old card at the back Or are you simply going to put it on the lectern or even throw it on the floor? I've seen people do that. You need to practice holding them so you know what it feels like when you're standing in front of your audience. And please make sure if you're using cue cards, you must find out what type of microphone you are using. If you are using a lapel microphone that is on your clothing, you don't need to worry. But if you're expected to use a handheld and you've got these in your other hand, that's tricky. If that does happen to you, speak to the people who are organising your event and just ask if the sound person can bring a lapel microphone for you instead. Never, ever decide to use cue cards 2 minutes before you go on stage. I've witnessed people deciding to use cue cards at the last minute. They're always side stage, scribbling down their notes. They then rush out onto the stage, having never handled these before, and it's always a nightmare. You must practice using them. It makes all the difference. Using these correctly means you never have to worry about forgetting what you're saying in your presentation. If you're a nervous presenter, it means you can let go of that fear and you can start to enjoy the art of presenting on stage in front of audiences more and more. I'd really urge you, if you are a nervous presenter or you've got a big presentation looming that you're starting to worry about, start building cue cards into your preparation process. I promise it will make such a difference to your overall feeling about the presentation, and you can let go of that fear of forgetting what you're going to say. I hope this video helps. Please do give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching that video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, here's a link to some more. Please do subscribe because I'll be uploading videos weekly.